I want to say good evening to everyone assembled here tonight for the Public Health and Safety Committee meeting of Upper Borderland Township for this July 24th. Now keep that date in mind because 6 months from now, it'll be Christmas Eve. You imagine that? 6 months from now, Christmas Eve. So start your shopping early. Guys, sitting up here tonight with me is my right hand, Nick Skull, Commissioner. I'm Charles Whiting. Kip McPatrick is still in Monte Carlo on his yacht, so he's enjoying himself on vacation. But also assembled here tonight for the late show, we have Matt Canlin, and we have Matt Canlin, our Township Commissioner, as well as Sean Kilkenny, our Township Solicitor. Sean, welcome back.
Good to be back.
Did I miss out on anybody? No. Okay.
Chief.
Well, we're going to break them in. They break them in, okay? It's been a while since we've been together, so on this late night show, we want to say, Mr. Skull, are you approving our minutes from our last meeting on June the 19th?
I do.
You do? And so furthermore, we will move those minutes out among the troops, okay? Next, we will start with our roll call. And Chief Block,
Good evening.
how are you this evening?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Welcome back to the late show.
Thank you. And tomorrow's Christmas in July.
There you go. Okay, now we got something to look forward to. Okay, please, proceed, please, Chief.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to present the June 2023 monthly report for the Police Department. The Police Department responded to 1,307 calls for service in the month of June, and that takes us year-to-date to 7,802 calls. Outlying year on our call volume, in June 2022, we were at 7,875. June 2021, we were at 6,926. And in June 2020, we were at 6,702. So we've seen a 17% increase when we do our look back over the last 3 years. The following Part 1 crimes were reported, investigated by the police department. We had 1 armed robbery that was cleared by an arrest, 1 automobile theft, 3 burglaries with 1 cleared by an arrest, 4 aggravated assaults that were all cleared by an arrest, and 40 theft offenses with 26 cleared by an arrest. Our Part 2 crimes for the month of June 2023, there were 3 narcotics offenses that were cleared by an arrest, 7 public intoxication offenses all cleared, as well as 29 other crimes that were committed. Our patrol division always remains vigilant and busy. They had 264 vehicle investigations for the month of June. 35 hazardous traffic violations were issued, 71 non-hazardous traffic violations were issued, 5 parking citations. There was 12 homeless contacts throughout the township and 16 DUI investigations, with 1 arrest between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and the remaining 15 between 7 at night and 7 in the morning. Our traffic and highway safety unit had 24 calls for service, 4 traffic and parking issues that they investigated, 2 citizen concerns, 3 directed patrols, 67 traffic stops and motor vehicle investigations, 32 warnings, 16 hazardous traffic citations were issued, and 28 non-hazardous traffic citations issued. There were 4 motor vehicle, commercial vehicle inspections. 1 vehicle was placed out of service and 1 driver was taken out of service. Our Detective Bureau CID was very busy for the month of June 2023. They opened up 23 new cases. While doing that, they also had 8 arrest warrants that were served. 1 was for a felony kidnapping, robbery, and burglary warrant. 1 was an aggravated indecent juvenile assault. And 1 warrant was for an indecent exposure. 1 for a violation of the Uniform Firearms Act for a firearms violation. 1 was for receiving stolen property along with narcotics. 1 was an attempted domestic strangulation, and 2 terroristic threat warrants were served. So they were very busy during the month. There were also 8 search warrants. Some notable investigations, as I related that there were, the 1 arrest warrant was for the felony kidnapping and robbery, drawing everyone's attention back to June 1st. We had a reported armed robbery and kidnapping at the Acme Box Company on Turnpike Drive. As a result of this, the detective unit investigated this. It went on for several days. And after 6 days of the investigation, they were able to track down the individual that was responsible for this heinous crime, and they were able to take him into custody without incident. The detectives, and we'll have more on it at the September meeting, but it was a very, very surgical investigation, I'll put it to you that way, and you'll see on what they did, and able to track the offender, to identify them and actually take them into custody after several search warrants. So it was phenomenal police work by our detective unit. On the 19th of June, we had a fight at Veterans Memorial Park, and it was noted simply because when we received it that we were told that there was a handgun involved. When we arrived there, myself was on location along with the detectives and patrol. There were two groups of people that were involved in a dispute, and one person ended up producing a handgun. We're very thankful that we were able to take the handgun in our possession without anybody being hurt by it. And charges were, one individual was charged with the violation of the handgun as well as the dispute. There was a joint investigation between our detective unit and the Pennsylvania Office of the Attorney General, where criminal charges were filed against the Joshua Warner of Elkins Park by the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office after a joint investigation into child sexual abuse that started back in November of 2022. The charges that are included in this investigation were unlawful contact with a minor, statutory sexual assault, and aggravated indecent assault, as well as child pornography. Another investigation that the detectives are working on was charges were filed in a corrupt organization and organized retail theft investigation. This was another joint investigation between our detectives and the Montgomery County Detective Bureau, and criminal charges were filed against 6 members of an organized retail theft organization that had been targeting home improvement stores throughout Pennsylvania. There was a 2-year investigation, and this resulted in the recovery of over $100,000 in stolen merchandise and incorporated over 60 retail theft incidents throughout the region. And we took a very active role in this investigation and bringing this ring in. We also executed search warrants. The detective unit did on the 16th of June. They assisted the Montgomery County Detective Bureau with the execution of search warrants on 2 homes in Philadelphia related to the ongoing theft investigation being investigated by us and the county. The searches yielded the recovery of over $140,000 in merchandise and over $90,000 in cash proceeds from this ongoing organization. So as I stated, it's been a very busy month for our detectives. Just an overview on our Part 1 crime stats. In 2023, there were 14 burglaries year to date with 4 clearances. In 2022, there were 8. 2021, there were 8. In 2020, there were 5. In our robbery offenses investigated year to date, currently there are 11 robberies that were reported year to date with 9 clearances. Same time in 2022, there were 2. In 2021, there were 5. And in 2020, there were 6. And again, all robberies remain under investigation by our Detective Bureau. And our thefts, including retail year to date, are 284 with 141 clearances. Some community-oriented activity and police department monthly activities and highlights. On June 6th, the Upper Moreland Police Department escorted the Upper Moreland High School girls lacrosse team from the high school to the Pennsylvania Turnpike entrance. This was to honor the team as they were departing to the State College for the PIA playoffs. Unfortunately, they did not win the state, but we supported them, made sure they got up there safely. June 9th through 11th, the police department, along with the fire department, we worked and we planned out an operational planning for the annual June Fate Fair that occurred. It was through the operational planning and the cooperation with emergency service and the fire department that had a very successful event this year. And there were certain recommendations we made as far as enhancing the security for this event, which the event holders at the hospital did take under consideration, which made it a safe and enjoyable event for everybody all weekend long. I'm happy to report on June 13th of 2023, the first Upper Moreland Township Citizens Police Academy graduated after a 6-week course of instruction. There were 10 residents that enrolled in our inaugural program. The Citizens Police Academy was designed and administered by Sergeant Pam Cador. The topics that were covered over the course of the 6-week program were patrol operations, our canine unit, and the function, our SWAT team, criminal investigations, EMS responses, as well as our traffic and highway safety unit. The course of instruction was extremely well received by those residents that attended, and the second annual Citizens Police Academy will take place in the spring of 2024. On the 21st and the 22nd of June, the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission conducted its formal assessment of the police department. They were here on site. The police department has been in the process of completing the state accreditation program. The accreditation process develops new and updated policy and procedures for the police department under professional standards. There were 3 assessors on site conducting the review of our new and updated policies and procedures. The assessment team provided a detailed tour of the police headquarters, as well as riding with our patrol officers during the assessment. This extensive process began in 2022 under the direction and management of Lieutenant Kelly Ruddle and our consulting agency, Aspirant Consulting Group. On July 25th, tomorrow, I will be attending the PLEAC board meeting, and with all luck and hope, we should be receiving our accreditation from the state as a accredited police department within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So myself and the lieutenants will be leaving early tomorrow morning to go up to the commission hearing. On June 21st and June 22nd, the Upper Moreland Township Police Department sponsored the annual Junior Police Academy at Pulaski Park. There were 50 campers enrolled in this year's program. Demonstrations were provided by the Upper Moreland Police Department's K-9 unit, along with Abington's K-9 unit. The Upper Moreland Detective Bureau and CID had a practical for the students attending. The Eastern Montgomery County SWAT team did a presentation, as well as the Philadelphia Police Department's Mounted Patrol unit. This program is a summer highlight for many of the children attending, and Sergeant Pam Cadora coordinated the Junior Police Academy and always does a tremendous job with this program. And as I stated, on the last page in the report is the report from Chief Jim Adams, who's the accreditation program manager. The initial assessment, we received information back that it went very successful. And as I stated, I will have more information tomorrow, and it's our hope that once the accreditation is approved, that the PLEAC board will be here on August 7th at the commissioners meeting to present that proclamation to the board. So Commissioner Whiting, that concludes my June report, and if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Well, Chief Block, we want to say congratulations on the accreditation.
Thank you.
That was a team. Let's give him a hand.
It's a team effort throughout the entire police
It
department.
takes a team, but you are the captain of the team, and that is why we brought you here, to get that accreditation. So thank you. And Matt, thank you also for your insight. Okay, are there any commissioner comments to Chief Block?
As you know, I'm a regular commuter on the Turnpike. I was very happy to see the billboards soliciting for enrollees for our testing for our police. Have we received many applicants?
No, it is not opened yet, so it will open up the
6th of August?
Correct. So we're hoping. There's 19 police departments that'll be participating in the consortium exam in September.
And do we have any candidates that we helped achieve schooling at the Montgomery County Police Academy?
We have one cadet that's currently enrolled right now. The conditional offer for the cadet was provided at the June board meeting. So she is currently enrolled in the police academy.
No other candidates at the school?
No, not from Upper Moreland.
Right.
Any other commissioner comments? Any public comments? Chief Block, once again, congratulations.
Thank you,
Christmas is
Commissioner
coming in July.
Thank you.
Okay, Chief Glassman.
Thank you.
Talk about the fire department now.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's my privilege to give you the June report of the fire department. There were 83 fire calls, 25 EMS QRS calls for a total of 108 calls. We performed 38 fire permit inspections. We collected $1,855 in fees. The yearly fees collected is $10,720. There were 8 fire marshal investigations during the month. Significant incidents on June 21st, 3553 Davisville Road. It was a motor vehicle accident. Actually, I have a picture of the vehicle. That's right at Turnpike Drive. A collision that that caused an extrication of a victim. The fire department participated in 4 events, community-oriented, with 75 people attending. We also participated with the police department and the Junior Police Academy. 2 smoke detectors were installed. Fire service training hours, 30 personnel, 579 hours. Firefighter Michael Cox attended hazmat technician training in Anniston, Alabama, that was funded by the federal government. On the emergency management front, as Chief Block said, we participated and planned the June Fate weekend. We had some concerns about safety of people participating and coming to the event. Chief Block worked very hard with partners, including the county, the hospital, and some of the vendors that were there. I attached a couple of pictures of the county emergency management bus that we basically spent the whole weekend in. We had the whole venue under camera, and the police department did an awesome job being very proactive and keeping things safe for the community at large. And that concludes my response, my report, pending any questions.
Thank you, Chief. Any commissioner comments for the chief? Any public comments for the chief? Once again, thank you very much. Okay, Ken, please.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Please, sir.
Calls for service in May of 2023, there were 344 EMS calls, 316 medical. Motor vehicles were 19 and fire calls 9. We transported 199 patients, and the usual hospital breakdown is listed there as to where they went. I did include some new numbers for you this month. We've identified that we have some, I guess we'll call them super user locations in the township. So there's a chart on the back that shows you that essentially there are 4 addresses that are facilities of some sort. And those 4 facilities were 77 calls in the month of May, or 26% of all the EMS calls in Upper Moreland Township. So just something to keep in mind, that we've identified that we do have some facilities that have been using our services quite frequently these days and accounting for a lot of the calls in the township. June was 1 administration of naloxone by EMS. As always, my disclaimer, that's just the times that we gave naloxone. It doesn't mean that it wasn't given by a bystander or police prior to our arrival. Staffing continues in sort of the up and down. We are getting back to better staffing, but still short a little bit. In June of 2023, we had a total of 18 hours. We had a downgrade as compared to 66 in June of 2022. 61 where we downgraded to BLS as compared to 258. And we're actual full staffing at 3161 as compared, ALS staffing as compared to 2,916 ALS staffing in 2022. In the month of June, fund drive, we received $52,035 from Upper Moreland residents for subscriptions and $5,788 as additional donations. Something to keep in mind and maybe reach out to our local representatives on. House Bill 479 included important language that would have amended the way that Medicaid payments were handled for EMS. If you recall, a few years ago, I talked to you about the increase that we had received in our Medicaid reimbursement, but they had excluded the first 20 miles of transport, which is a significant amount of money for most EMS agencies like ours. There was language in House Bill 479 that was intended to correct that, would have started the payment for loaded mileage at 0. It passed the House unanimously. It went to the Senate. It came back with some amendments that had nothing to do with EMS, Medicaid, or the way that Medicaid payments are made to EMS. And unfortunately, it was killed due to those amendments. We're asking our local representatives to consider at least resurrecting some of the language of that in a fiscal code bill or some other means, because we need to have this problem rectified. We can't wait for them to go through a whole nother bill specific to the Medicaid payments. And again, it was sort of, we thought it was moving forward quite well, and at the last minute was pulled. And finally, our next EMT class is going to start November 1st. It'll run through March 24th. We are very pleased to announce that thanks to a very generous grant from Penn Community Bank, we have 8 scholarships available for the program. Information is available on our social media pages, as well as our website, sars.org, or you can send an email to info@maine.sars.org. And as of this afternoon, we still have all 8 scholarship spots available. So if anybody's interested, we would encourage them to apply. Fully covered tuition to attend the EMT program, and then possible employment at Second Armors following. That's my report. I'm happy to take any questions.
I was looking at your high utilization, facilities. Are they nursing homes?
2 of them are extended care and nursing homes. One is a rehabilitation facility, and one is the cancer treatment center.
Any other commissioner comments?
Thank you.
So I had the same question, and on top of that question was, what's the reasoning for including that? Are you proposing something, or are you just bringing this to our awareness?
I'm not proposing anything at this point, but I think obviously we've asked to continue the discussions about EMS funding and support, and I think it's important for you to know what the utilization is and considering different methods that are available to provide that. One of the things that has been discussed, obviously, is an ambulance tax or something that's based on real estate. Some of these facilities are nonprofit, so they might not be lumped into there. And just, how to properly capture funding from facilities that have potential other ways to handle some of these things. I mean, skilled facilities frequently have contracts with private ambulance services to handle stuff that are, I won't say not emergent, but less urgent. We are seeing a trend that they are having difficulty with their vendors or choosing not to use them and utilizing 911 sometimes, and an uptick there. One of the facilities is kind of using us as transportation for medical clearance, which is kind of not an appropriate use. We've had discussions with them about that. We've talked to them. At the end of the day, we're required by law to respond. We're required by law to provide the transport. So I think it's important to see, there are other facilities in the municipality that call 911 frequently, but these were the 4 that we identified. As you can see that, when 4 addresses make up over a quarter of the calls, it's definitely high volume.
Yeah, no, these are all good points, and so thanks for elaborating on it, because you're absolutely correct.
Ken, these 4 facilities, what can we do to help you and your group maybe bring more commonality to what's happening? I mean, that's extensive, really excessive.
Commissioner, it's a great question. I wish I had an answer for you, but I unfortunately don't. I mean, we've had discussions with some of these facilities about utilization and volume and appropriate use. At the end of the day, the staff there have to provide care for their patients, and if they call a transport service and they're told it's going to be 6 or 7 hours, then they can't wait and they have to call 911. So I think some of it is the system and the current state we're in, but I think at the end of the day, obviously the EMS system is broken and the funding system is broken, and if there are commercial facilities that are making high use of the system, hopefully we can find a way for them to cover their fair share.
Hey, Matt, I hate to ask this question of you, but you think maybe if you contacted these 4 institutions and made them aware that we are aware of this, maybe we can come to some kind of agreement of mind, do you think?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Maybe Ken and I can talk, try and better understand what it is, and we can contact them.
Sure.
Are these acute emergency calls, or just Joe has to get to the podiatrist?
Well, there's no Joe has to get to the podiatrist. They all result in a transport to the emergency room, but they are of varying levels of acuity. Some of them are absolutely high acuity, 100% appropriate for 911 to be called. Again, by the very existence of a facility in an area, it drives up the volume. So when you have a facility that cares for high acuity patients, you're going to expect high acuity calls. But there's a fair number of calls that are lower acuity and maybe more appropriate for other means other than calling 911. But we are the guaranteed response, and so we kind of become the catch-all.
Thank you, Ken.
Plus, you're more or less free also.
Well,
These facilities, right?
Well,
to the facility, yes.
thank you, Ken.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay,
I had one more thing.
go ahead.
Sorry. Congrats on acquiring those scholarships. That's great. Sounds like you have a couple avenues to advertise. Is there anything that the township can do to help advertise the availability of those scholarships as well? Have we talked about putting that on our news flash or anything like that?
Yeah, I can send Matt we have some standard slides or information. If you guys are willing to put that out there,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
if you want us to. I mean,
The more the merrier, it would be great.
okay, great. All right. I had a question for Chief Glassman, actually. I skipped it because I wasn't sure of the order of what was happening, but you included a report of volunteer hours, and you did not elaborate on the information that we're supposed to be gleaning from that. So if the time is right to you, Commissioner Whiting, could we talk about that for a second? Sure.
Yeah, of course we can talk about them.
I don't want to jump your schedule, jump your gun.
So they keep them, so this is a report of the volunteer activity on their responses amongst their organization. So this is the month of June that you're looking at. So All the people that are redlined out are below the minimum for being what they call active, which is 25% of the calls, which is just at night on the weekends. So you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active members. And of the 6, 1, 2, 3 of them are in the between 25 and 30. So there's really only 3 people that are over 30%. So I've been including, the monthly reports with the report so that you can see what their activity level is. So it's difficult to cover each person, but it's a report of all the membership.
Okay, is this typical for coverage? Whether within our facilities or in general for volunteer?
Well, so the weird part this year, and we've talked about this in the past, they produced this vacation schedule, and this is when it started, the month of June. So this was left, and we're going to deal with it again next week, where the problem is you can't really see it on this, but so I ran it before I came tonight, and there's 8, so we got just a little bit better this month, but 4 of them are the same family. And I said to the chief on Friday, I said, there's only 8 active members, and 4 of you are going on vacation. It creates a struggle for the township.
Okay.
So it's not good.
Okay.
That's the answer, it's
and
not
then
good. So I've been including it so you could see
Yeah,
it.
I guess I missed it the last couple, whatever you included before. It's the first time I was seeing this report. So my final question is, are there standard amounts of hours that are required per volunteer to keep a volunteer status?
So they do it by percentage or 75 hours a year, because some of the senior folks will call it due hours because they don't actively respond, like the treasurer or the secretary. They submit hours to stay active, and that's 75 hours. The people that are riding on the fire trucks, which are these people here, because the hour people we don't keep track of, that's 25% to stay active.
Okay.
25% of the overall call, so that 108, but they only include 6 at night to 6 in the morning and the weekend hours. So anything that happens for 12 hours during the week, during the day, 60 hours a week, they basically are not even included in those numbers.
Okay. All right. Thank you for keeping track of that. We'll keep an eye on it.
Anthony,
Yes.
what this says is that we need more volunteers,
Absolutely.
okay?
It's a problem.
And the chief's been talking about this ever since he arrived. We need more active volunteers. So, spread the word.
Yeah. Problem. No, it's good too to see the actual hard numbers, right? Because we talk about it regularly, how volunteer hours across all sorts of boards. I mean, even our township agencies are having a hard time getting volunteers, and those aren't even life-saving agencies. So having the numbers, the hardcore numbers to show monthly will help drive that point home harder. So thanks for including it.
Okay, thank you. We have no old business to discuss, but we have some new business. And Chief Glassman, would you talk about the menu plan, please?
Thank you, Commissioner. So it's a resolution to pass or authorize the county hazard mitigation plan. We're required to have a hazard mitigation plan. So instead of each and every single municipality having a hazard mitigation plan, we fall into the county plan. The document is not attached because it's 300 and some pages, but I can tell you I pulled out the Upper Moreland Township residents that if the plan is approved and there is a disaster, let me repeat that. If the plan is approved and there is a declaration and these properties are included, they will be eligible for buyouts. There are houses within the 500 block of South Warminster, houses within the unit block of Horsham Road, within the 800 block of South York, and the unit block of Bonnet Lane. So the county is asking every municipality to, approve the hazard mitigation plan. Just in case there is a disaster declaration, we will be able to access funds to help the residents.
Okay.
When I hear you talking about that, I just keep thinking about all these rail cars derailing, and Norfolk
Man.
Southern sends a lot of cars.
White Marsh
down
got
the middle of
lucky,
our
I'll
town.
tell you that. White Marsh got lucky last week, very lucky.
So, Having said that, Chief, what's our next step?
Approve the resolution so we can get it signed and send it back to the county. 17 municipalities, I was at a meeting Wednesday, 17 municipalities already signed it and sent it back, so.
Yeah, the next step would be to place it on the August board agenda.
7th agenda for the, okay, let's do that. Are you in agreement?
I agree, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do it. Matt,
Yep.
you're on the agenda, please. Thank you. And in keeping with the holiday tomorrow, I am proposing that we do not meet on August 21st. Okay, we will cancel that meeting, so you can spend time with your families, okay? Is there any other comments from the commissioners at this time?
So, in speaking with other electeds across our region, we all have the same problems with volunteers, and actually, I think we're doing pretty good as far as response times, but not everyone else is. I don't know why these other municipalities don't want to participate in a study to evaluate a regional process. But I'd like to ask Matt to reach out to the other managers.
I can report on that because I have spoken to them on a couple of occasions over last year. So really the only jurisdiction that is in a position to work with us right now would be Hatboro. Horsham is completing their own study that they did in-house. Lower Moreland and Bryn Athyn have already completed their study and they're working together, partnering. And Upper Dublin and Abington at this point say they're not interested.
So as far as the study goes, I had only asked for us to reach out to Upper Moreland, Hatboro, Lower Moreland, and Bryn Athyn, just to study what it would look like. And this information would help you, whether you vote to do it or not to do it, it's available information.
Yeah, but Hatboro is open to doing something. I mean, I spoke to the manager. She has not gone back to speak to the board, but she thinks they would be willing to talk with us. But that was the only jurisdiction.
Okay, well, I'd like to, if it's just us in Hatboro, I'd like to find out if we can do that. I really believe that other municipalities have the same problems, and that if they are working together and they're getting things done, that's fine. But that's a short-term fix. What we're talking about, it would take a long process anyhow to achieve. I mean, the study itself would take quite a bit of time and effort. So you see what it costs to pay professionals to come in and do studies, and DCED would give us this evaluation. So we have something tangible to work with. So I'd just like to try to revisit it. And if it's just Hatboro, I'd say let's go and do it.
Okay, I'll approach them, ask them.
Sorry, last one. Last year, maybe this time last year, we wrote a letter to the state describing our opposition to the transport of LNG through our township, liquefied natural gas. So you mentioned that again. It's being brought back up in the news as those agencies are looking for other ways to reopen their permits and find different ways to transport that natural gas. Part of it would still be through our township and through Abington, coming from the western portion of Pennsylvania. So I just asked this group to keep their eye on that news. If you do hear anything else about that, maybe we could discuss it again and see if there's any way for us to reach out to our state reps and our other elected partners to, again, voice our opposition if that's still the opinion of the board as a whole. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioner comments? Any other public comments? Okay, meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening.